Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Mark Hale had been a salvage pilot for nearly 15 years, long enough to know that empty stations were never truly empty. They held memories in every broken light and whisper in every corridor. Some held danger, some held ghosts, and some held secrets that changed lives forever. The abandoned moon station called Delta 9 floated over a silent crater, half buried under dust. Its beacon had been dead for years. No ships docked here, no rescue teams patrolled here. So when his scanner picked up a faint distress signal from inside, Mark almost thought his equipment was malfunctioning. But it wasn't. The distress call repeated again, weak, shaky, and desperate. "Help, please, someone." Mark braked the thrusters and guided his small ship, the Horizon, toward the docking port. His heart thudded in his chest, not from fear but from curiosity. Or maybe something deeper, an instinct telling him that whatever waited inside needed him more than he realized. The docking clamp locked with a loud metallic snap. Mark grabbed his helmet, sealed it on, and stepped into the dark airlock. The station smelled of dust and old wires. The lights flickered like dying insects. The metal floor creaked under every step. "Hello?" he called, his voice echoing down the long corridor. "I got your signal. I'm here to help." No answer, only the hum of a failing generator. He moved deeper, scanning the area. There were marks on the walls, deep scratches as if something sharp had dragged across them. A cold shiver ran up his spine, but he kept walking. Then, a faint cry. Close, very close. He followed the sound to a large storage chamber. The door was stuck halfway open, so he shoved it with his shoulder until it groaned and slid aside. The room was dark except for a broken ceiling light, swinging back and forth, making shadows dance wildly. At first, he saw no one. Then he noticed a figure sitting in the far corner, curled into herself like she wanted to disappear. A tall woman, slender but strong, her skin a soft silver blue. Long strands of white hair fell like silk over her shoulders. She wore a torn and damaged suit, something between armor and ceremonial clothing. But the strangest thing, the saddest thing, was how she held both hands tightly over her face. "Don't come closer," she whispered. "Please, don't look at me." Mark froze. Her voice was soft, full of fear and shame. He knew fear, but this tone, it was heartbreak. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here because you called for help." "I shouldn't have," she breathed. "I thought the station would collapse before anyone arrived. I didn't expect a human." She said human, the way someone might say storm or fire, something dangerous but also strangely comforting. Mark crouched slowly, keeping distance so she wouldn't feel threatened. "What happened to you?" he asked. There was a long silence. Finally she whispered, "I am Aaron, or I was. My people value beauty, grace, and perfection. But I lost all of that the moment the reactor exploded." Her hands tightened on her face. "You'll be afraid if you see me. Everyone is." Mark shook his head. "I've seen a lot in my life. I don't scare easily." "You will this time," she insisted, voice trembling. "Even I cannot look at myself." Mark's scanner beeped suddenly, sharp, urgent, warning. He checked the reading and frowned. "Hey, this station isn't safe," he said. "Pressure levels are unstable, and something else is." He stopped. There were footsteps. Heavy ones. Slow, not human. The alien woman tensed instantly, breath shuddering. "It followed me," she whispered. "I thought I lost it when I escaped the blast, but it tracked me here." Mark turned toward the door. The corridor outside was dark, too dark. Something moved there, too large to fit a human shape. A low growl echoed through the metal hall. He swallowed. "We need to move now." "No," she said quickly. "Leave me here. You will die if you stay." "Not happening," Mark answered. "Come on, I'll help you." He held out his hand. She hesitated. He could see her shaking, her breath uneven. The shame she felt was stronger than fear. Strong enough to keep her hiding even when something was hunting her. Mark softened his voice. "Look, you don't have to show your face. Just trust me long enough to get you out alive." There was a long pause. Then, very slowly, she reached out and placed her hand in his. Her touch was warm, trembling. "Thank you," she whispered. He pulled her up gently, and they moved toward the corridor. The footsteps grew louder behind them. Something metallic scraped across the floor. The creature was getting closer. Mark tightened his grip on her hand and guided her through the twisting hallways. Lights flickered overhead, some exploding in bright sparks. The station trembled, the structure weakening, ready to collapse. She stumbled once, still keeping her face covered with her free hand. Mark steadied her. "Careful, I can barely see," she said. "My visor is broken. You can lean on me," Mark offered. She hesitated only for a moment before nodding. Her weight pressed lightly against him. Despite everything, she moved gracefully, even injured. A loud crash echoed behind them, metal tearing open. The creature roared, a deep, monstrous sound that made the walls vibrate. The alien woman's voice shook. "It won't stop until I'm dead. Then we won't give it the chance." Mark replied. The docking bay was just ahead. Mark's ship sat in the center, engines warm, lights blinking. He triggered the ramp to open. "Go," he told her. But she didn't move. She was staring at the reflective surface on the ship's hull, staring at her own reflection. Even with her hand covering most of her face, she pulled back in fear. "I cannot," she whispered. "Your people will see what I am. They will call me a monster." "Stop," Mark said firmly. "I don't know what you think you look like, but nothing could make you a monster." "You say that without knowing," she answered painfully. "My face, my right side, it is scarred, burned, ruined. My people live for perfection. When they saw me after the blast, they turned away. Even my commander could not bear to look." Mark's jaw tightened. "Then your people are idiots." She blinked at that, surprised by the sharpness in his tone. "You are alive," he said. "You survived something that should have killed you. That's not shame, that's strength." For a moment, she looked like she wanted to believe him. But fear dragged her down again. The creature roared, much closer now. Mark grabbed her arm. "We don't have time. Trust me." She finally nodded, and together they ran up the ramp. Mark sealed the hatch just as something massive slammed into it from outside. The metal dented inward. The ship shook. Mark sprinted to the pilot seat, powering the engines. The alien woman sat in the co-pilot chair, still holding her hand over her face. She didn't look at him, didn't look at anything. Her whole body trembled with fear and shame. As the ship lifted off, the station below them collapsed in a burst of dust and sparks. Something large and dark crawled out of the wreckage, roaring as they escaped. Mark exhaled slowly, heart pounding. "You're safe now." She didn't reply. She stared at the floor, voice breaking. "You should not have saved me. Humans fear what they do not understand." Mark turned slowly toward her. "You haven't met my daughter." The alien woman's head snapped up slightly, though she still hid half her face. "Your daughter, she's 7, Mark said softly, smiling a little. "And she has a heart bigger than most adults. If she accepts someone, it means they deserve it." The woman swallowed hard. "And if she is afraid of me?" "She won't be." "How can you be sure?" Mark looked at her with calm, steady eyes. "Because she sees people for who they are, not what they look like." The alien woman fell silent. Her breathing slowed. Her shaking hands lowered just a little, as if she wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, there was a place where she didn't have to hide. But before she could speak, the ship's alarm beeped sharply. Mark checked the screen and frowned. The creature's energy signature had survived the collapse, and it had locked onto their trail. He muttered, "Great, it's following us." The alien woman's voice grew thin. "It won't stop, Mark Hale. It will chase me across stars if it must." "Well," Mark said, powering the engines toward Earth, "then we'll just have to face it together." She looked at him, truly looked, even though half her face remained hidden. And for the first time, he saw a spark of hope behind her fear. The return to Earth was not peaceful. The creature that hunted the alien woman, its dark energy signature pulsing like a heartbeat, closed the distance with terrifying speed. Mark could see it on the scanners, a shifting shape moving through space like smoke trapped inside shadow. But the alien woman sat quietly in the co-pilot's seat, hand still protecting the scarred side of her face. She didn't speak much during the journey. Sometimes she trembled, sometimes she stared silently into the void outside the window. Fear lived in her eyes, but deeper than fear was shame, something she had carried for far too long. Mark didn't push her. He focused on flying, on keeping them safe. When Earth finally came into view, blue, warm, alive, Mark felt a small relief. "Home," he said. The woman lowered her hands a little. "It is beautiful," she whispered. "Much softer than my world." "Wait till you meet my daughter," Mark said gently. "She brings out the best in everything." The woman looked down. "I am Afraid of Ellie? Mark smiled. She's a kid. The kindest kid you'll ever meet. That is why I fear her, the woman said quietly. Kindness hurts more than cruelty when one feels unworthy of it. Those words lingered in the air. Mark guided the ship through atmosphere and landed behind his small house on the outskirts of a peaceful human settlement. Trees swayed in the wind. Birds circled the sky. Everything here felt safe. Come on, he said softly. You're okay now. The woman followed him down the ramp. The sunlight touched her silver blue skin, making it glow faintly. She flinched at the brightness but kept her face hidden as best she could. Then the front door burst open. A small girl with messy brown hair and bright eyes ran out, barefoot on the grass. Dad, you're home, Ellie yelled happily. She raced toward Mark but skidded to a stop when she saw the tall alien woman standing beside him. Ellie stared, wide-eyed, curious, silent. Mark held his breath. The woman lowered her head as if expecting horror. Ellie took one small step forward, then another, and then she smiled. Dad, she whispered, she's beautiful. The alien woman froze, not breathing, not blinking, shocked. Ellie approached her slowly, like she was approaching a shy forest creature. She reached out a hand, soft and gentle. Hi, Ellie said with a bright grin. I'm Ellie. What's your name? The woman's voice cracked. I am called Lyra. That's pretty, Ellie said cheerfully. Lyra swallowed hard. She tried to hide her face again, but Ellie caught her wrist lightly. You don't have to hide, Ellie said in a small but steady voice. Not here. Lyra shook her head, trembling. Child, if you see what I am, you will fear me. No, Ellie said simply. I won't. Mark watched quietly. Something warm filled his chest. Lyra looked at Ellie, really looked. The girl's eyes were full of innocence, honesty, and a kind of bravery adults often forgot. Slowly, with a breath that trembled like thin glass, Lyra lowered her hand from her face. The right side was scarred in long, soft lines, glowing faintly where the burn had healed imperfectly. The markings looked like cracks in a gemstone, delicate but striking. Ellie gasped. Lyra flinched, expecting fear. But Ellie whispered, awestruck, you look like the night sky. Like star lines. Lyra's breath broke. Her eyes filled with tears. She hadn't allowed herself to cry even when she was abandoned by her own people. You do not fear me. Ellie shook her head. Why would I? You look strong, and kind, and you have pretty hair. Can I touch it? Lyra let out a sound that was almost a laugh, almost a sob. Yes, you may. Ellie gently brushed Lyra's white hair and giggled. You're like a snow angel. Mark smiled at the scene, pure, innocent acceptance. But the peace did not last long. His handheld scanner beeped sharply. The creature's energy signature was getting closer. Much closer. Mark stiffened. We have maybe 10 minutes. Lyra's expression changed instantly, fear returning. It found me. I should leave. If I run far enough, perhaps it will follow only me. No way, Mark said firmly. It's dangerous. It will kill you. It will kill you too if I stay. Lyra protested. Ellie grabbed Lyra's hand tightly. Don't go. Lyra knelt in front of her. I must. I cannot let harm come to you or your father. Ellie shook her head fiercely. My dad can protect people. And I can help too. Lyra stared at her with soft sadness. You should not risk yourself for me. Ellie jutted her chin out. Your family now. Those 3 simple words hit Lyra harder than any explosion ever had. Family. A word she had not heard in a long time. A word she never thought she deserved. Mark laid a hand on Lyra's shoulder. She's right. We face this together. Lyra closed her eyes. Then I will fight. The resolution in her voice was new, born from Ellie's acceptance and Mark's trust. They moved to the open field behind Mark's house. Lyra stood in the center, her hands slowly spreading, palms glowing with faint light. Air and energy flowed through her, the ability her people used for creation, not combat. But today, she would turn it into a shield for those who believed in her. The wind shifted, the shadows twisted, and the creature arrived. It was taller than a house, made of swirling black fragments that moved like smoke caught in wind. Its eyes burned with blue fire. Its form was unstable, shifting from claws to tendrils to heavy limbs. Ellie hid behind Mark. Lyra stepped forward, light rising from her hands like a soft white fire. The creature roared, shaking the ground. Mark raised his weapon. Here we go. The creature lunged. Lyra threw out her hands, forming a shimmering barrier of white light. The creature slammed into it and bounced back, screeching. But the barrier cracked. Lyra gasped in pain, falling to one knee. No, Ellie cried. Mark fired a plasma shot into the creature's chest. It stumbled but recovered quickly, turning its fury toward Mark. Lyra pushed herself up, light blazing brighter. You will not harm them, she shouted. The creature charged again. Lyra exhaled deeply, and the light around her flared like a star. Her scars glowed brighter than the rest of her skin. She walked forward, each step filled with strength she never knew she had. The creature hesitated this time. It sensed power. Lyra spread her arms and released a sphere of pure white energy that exploded outward like a silent pulse. The creature screeched as the light struck it, unraveling its shadowy form piece by piece. It fought, thrashing wildly, but the light consumed it completely until nothing remained. Silence fell. The wind blew softly. Lyra dropped to the ground, exhausted but alive. Ellie ran to her. Lyra, you did it. Mark knelt beside her. You saved all of us. Lyra looked at them both, tears gathering in her eyes. No, you saved me. With trust, with kindness, with a child's courage. Ellie hugged her tightly. Lyra froze, then slowly, carefully, wrapped her arms around the small human child. You don't have to hide anymore, Ellie whispered. Lyra closed her eyes, feeling a kind of peace she had never known. Perhaps, she murmured, this world is where I belong. Mark smiled warmly. If you want to stay, our home is open. Lyra looked at the house, at the trees, the sky, and then at the father and daughter beside her. I would like that, she said softly. Ellie cheered. Yay, you're staying. Lyra smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in her life. The scars on her face shimmered in the sunlight, not ugly or frightening, but beautiful in their own unique way. Mark stood up and offered her his hand again. Welcome home, Lyra. She took it without hesitation. And together, the three of them walked toward the small human house. Toa rode a new beginning, toward a life not defined by perfection but by love, acceptance, and strength found in broken places. Lyra looked up at the bright sky and whispered to herself, I am not ashamed anymore. End of story.